And we are recording episode 8 of the Royal Ramble with Matt and Rory. We've got an icon for YouTube now that I created, so
Oh,
we should
nice.
be good. And today, I think we're just gonna kind of BS and see where we go from here. I've got
Open
a
topic.
couple of questions I want. So I was listening to Joe Rogan. Adam Curry was on, so I was listening to
Oh
that,
yeah,
and then I
I
listened to
started most of that. Yeah,
yep, I listened to the one before that where he had, I think it was Mike Benz. Did you listen to that one at all?
I didn't listen to Mike Benz.
I
I caught
mean,
most of Adam Curry.
so he is straight up. So he worked for the State Department at one point in time, and just breaking down USAID and how they are the arm of the government that does stuff that's too shady for CIA to do.
Well, they were talking about that with the funding. It was almost, I think Elon said it on the White House interview. He said we want to get into the business of helping people instead of
Yeah,
overthrowing governments,
it's all
right?
covert stuff. So even when they say all that
Yeah.
stuff, oh, this is for Sesame Street in Iraq or whatever, it's not. That's what the label's for, but what it's doing
Yeah.
on the other end, because
Sesame Street in Iraq,
yeah,
also known as channeling AK-47s to
yeah.
people.
So, but they were
Okay.
talking about, was it Cuba when they're trying to have a Arab Spring style event in
Mhm.
Cuba in like 2014 or whatever. Well, Cuba wouldn't allow them to have Twitter. So Cuba wouldn't let Twitter in. So more or less the USAID cloned Twitter, had a third party, so they went through and took money that they had set aside and earmarked for some program in Pakistan, took that, earmarked those funds to a private company to say, hey, we're, on behalf of some people from Cuba or whatever, right? Air quotes, people from Cuba, and said, we want to get this, social media stuff going here. And then they started it. They got like 60 some thousand subscribers. They all think it was out of Cuba, and they get them enrolled, and they're all giving them stuff about soccer, current events in Cuba, and like hurricane forecasts and something. And then once they
Jesus.
hit a certain targeted number of individuals, then they start throwing in political themes and just trying to bring them to where they'll start
Dude,
having protests and stuff. And so it's all just the dirty wing of the CIA. And it's just so,
it's sketch, man.
it is. And it's all
This
sketchy.
is
So,
this is the crap that'll get me fired up. Not to cut you off, but like
no, you're good.
that's the stuff that'll tick me off is like we talk about going into Iraq and all these places to like protect the people from and protect, freedoms and stuff and that we're this holy roller,
Yeah.
we do the right thing. And we do the same thing like they
Well,
the same
and that's
stuff
what,
that media says Russia does, like we do that too. Like get out
and
of
they were
here.
talking about the weapons of mass destruction and whether that was just media propaganda to back up
Right.
us going in there and overthrowing governments and keeping,
Dude,
you know,
100%.
keeping the Middle East unbalanced so that we have a war machine to make money off of and whatever else.
Yep.
But I'm like, even so, I spent almost 2 years of my life in Afghanistan, and then to see the withdrawal and like in the middle of the night, we're just taking off, like put everything on a plane and leave, all the equipment's behind and whatever else. That sucks knowing what you did and what you saw. It sucks to see that happen.
Mhm.
Um, but you start to question in the end, like, what the hell were we really doing there to start with? And so
Nothing.
it all, yeah, I
Spending
mean,
money.
you're spending money, keeping the war machine going, keeping the government operating because they have a place to allocate funds, of
Making
which,
unnamed politicians very rich.
yeah, yeah, but also how much money were they actually, being, oh, this is going to Afghanistan, but it's actually being earmarked to somewhere in South America to overthrow somebody else or do
Well,
whatever.
that's what
Um,
Zelensky was allegedly saying. Like we've got X amount of aid, but we really only got this.
and
Which
that's a
his whole
huge thing.
situation is sketch anyway.
In 2014, USAID backed the coup that overthrew the government and then put Zelensky in 2019. And then,
Yep.
like a year later, the war started. It was all
Now,
scheduled.
from what I understand, Russia had like a pro-Russia person in that position. Then I guess USAID helped like
Yeah. But
replace him.
for what purpose, though?
I think to get Ukraine in NATO.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think we need them
No,
in NATO.
I
I
don't think we
think
need them, but I think they wanted to
it's
put them
it was
in.
I think it was a money grab because,
Could be.
everybody, I think Pelosi, Kerry, Biden, they've all got kids that work in some gas field or energy sector in Ukraine, and so they're just getting kickbacks and whatever else, and that's where that money's going. Because he brought up the clip,
Mm.
they played the clip where Biden's all, "Oh, you're going to fire this guy. You're not going to get your $1 billion in aid we said we give you or guaranteed loans or whatever." And like, "Oh, what do
Do
you
you
know? The
think
guy
the
got fired."
guaranteed loans? Do you think that is USAID?
Oh no, it was. He pretty much
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it's all
yeah.
USAID stuff, and that there's
Interesting.
riders and all that stuff. You have to do what we say, or you're not going to get this money. And so they do what you say when they're like, "Oh, we need you to vote this way, or we need you to start this war, or do whatever." But I mean, Ukraine's just a meat grinder right now. We're just
Yep,
killing people. So I mean, what
yep.
really
There's
is
no
the?
purpose.
And yeah,
It's
no,
just
it's money.
spending money. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope that my goal is, I hope the Russian machine is just pumping out 7.62 by 39 ammo. That when
Mm.
this war ends, there's a stockpile of 100 trillion rounds they've got to get rid of. And, and Papa Trump is all, "Hey, Putin,
Dude,
we're buddies, dude. You need to get rid of some of that ammo. We'll buy that from you, and you can, sell it to us." And we next thing you know, we got good steel cased ammo cheap again.
in that same vein, there's a rumor floating around that suppressors may be off the NFA.
Not yet. Close
It's
though.
floating. I
It's
saw it on
very
Daily
close.
Mail.
Uh,
It's
because
floating
that's the only
around.
reason I haven't bought one yet is
Same.
because I have a suppressor eyeball. I don't know if you've been to Whip Machines. I'll put it in the description or the whatever in the when I upload this video. Whip Machine, they have the most like a budget suppressor out there. There's times you can find it. I want to say for under $200 a suppressor.
What gets
Like
you is the freaking tax stamp, though.
that's okay. So
That's what gets you.
the tax stamp does the processing and the because you got to do the transfer. So that
Oh, true.
$200 suppressor. So there was a time they had a sale, and the thing I want to say was like $180 for a suppressor. It was over $600 by the time I did the tax stamp, did the
That's wrong.
transfer, and did the there's another one. There's the transfer
The background, probably.
background probably, yeah. But by
So
the time you did
background's like what, $15 or something?
yeah, but by the
Transfer's
time I
like
did all
40.
that stuff, it was
Yuck.
astronomical. Uh, and it's just it's
Because
a mess.
I got two I could run it on right now. I have a 22 LR that would be great for a suppressor. It's
Yeah.
like the Ruger 1022 type platform, and then I got the AK platform, which would be
Oh,
great.
I don't even want to go over the stuff I put a suppressor on. If I could find suppressors for $200, I would have of them. I mean,
Yeah.
because I mean the the American Draco would have a suppressor on it in a
Hmm.
heartbeat. My AR pistol 5.56 would have a suppressor on it. My AR-10 would have a suppressor on it, and I don't even know what else after that. I would probably go and uh, go buy a threaded barrel for my Glock and throw a suppressor on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
if there's no tax stamp and there's
yeah,
no
yeah.
transfer because it's an NFA, not there's no longer a or it's an NFA item or whatever it is, or no longer an NFA item. Um, yeah, $200. It's like
Done.
having a whole new rifle.
Done deal. And
Yeah.
it's just so much easier for those that may not have like used a suppressor. It's not like in the movies where it's like silent, right?
So
It's a sound
have
mitigation.
you
That's all
ever
it is.
fired subsonic 9 mil out of a suppressor though?
No, I shot like 20 like 22s, you
Okay,
know.
so I've shot subsonic 9 mil out of a suppressor in an MP5, and I shit you not, you hear the round hitting the target and the brass bouncing off the ground.
That's pretty cool.
It
Yeah,
was
but for
it
the
was
gen
awesome.
public, what are they going to put it
Okay,
on? An
no,
AR-15.
they're gonna put
Yeah.
it in an AR and they're gonna
Yeah.
shoot supersonic ammo, which is still gonna reduce the
Yeah,
sound. It's
full grain five the green
yeah,
tips
65, yeah, 65
M855.
grain green tip, yeah. But it's gonna shoot, I mean, or 62 grain, but it's gonna be loud, but it's not gonna be as loud.
Yeah,
And
it's a mitigation.
yeah, but I mean, so it's a blast can in all reality. It's just focusing it straight in front of you instead of out.
I wish I had a suppressor on my AK when I let my grandpa shoot it. So I got my grandpa. He was like, "I want to shoot guns." I was like, "All right, man, let's go." We're shooting guns. It was a good day. and he's shooting pistols. He's like 80 something. He's ready to go, right? This was like 5, 6 years. Well, this is like 10 years ago now. It was a long time ago. And I get my AK out. Well, I didn't know he had the little roll-in earplugs, right? And he
Yeah.
he put them in. This fine all day, but he must have bumped something. And it was a little loose. So when he used the AK, he's like, "Man, he's like, I'm about deaf." I was like, "I wish I had a sound mitigation item on there."
I and I would put a suppressor on my AK, but I would want a good like old school AK suppressor on it.
Dude, so if I did a suppressed AK type platform, I'd want one rifle. I'd want the Vepr, I think it's called. I think it's the VEPYR. Google, look at that.
I'm looking it up.
The Vepr. It is the sickest rifle of all time. I think Brandon Herrera made one through parts. It's like integrally suppressed AK platform.
Yeah,
I love the way it
they
looks. It
look
is
expensive,
so
my friend.
cool. You can't
They
get
got
them
some that are
here.
bullpup AKs. Is that right?
They got bullpup AKs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They got those. Those are real. Those are real. They're dumb. I hate them. I do not like the bullpup platform at all. Like,
Ooh, they all got like the solid stock with the thumb hole in them.
yes, yes, the Vepr classic, classic. For the gamer nerds out there, if you play Stalker or Metro, you got to get the Vepr.
How to buy?
Yeah, I don't think you can. You got
No
to buy.
longer available for import in the United States
See,
due to
you got to
sanctions.
buy conversion kits or some shit, and they're expensive.
That sucks.
I remember. Do you know what a Saiga is? The Saiga
Yeah,
AK
yeah,
platform.
yeah, yeah.
So I remember when I was in college, they had a Saiga AK, which was a Russian AK, but it was like had the sport stock on the back, but you could convert it to like regular AK platform. And I remember that thing being like 4.99. It was dirt cheap. And I was like,
So
man, in retrospect, I kick myself. Because guess what I bought? I didn't buy the Saiga when I was in college. I bought an
Century
American made.
was it
Yes,
Century?
I bought the Century Arms
So I
like an idiot. I was like, dang it.
okay, I got into some AK YouTube the other day, and I'm watching some. I was like itching to go shoot, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like looking, and they're all comparing the available AKs to all the
Mhm.
sanctions and stuff, right? The stuff coming from Romania and Serbia and whatever else. And they're like, so Century's actually like importing Romanian stuff and stamping Century on it,
Mhm.
is what they're saying. Palmetto is really the only person that's making AKs in the states, I think.
Century, I think they gave up on their American made platform because it was just
Just garbage.
not good.
Well, I mean,
Palmetto's been good, man. I've enjoyed my Palmetto stuff.
yeah.
Bang for buck, it's good.
Well, and that's okay. So, but let's do the AK thing. We'll come back to that in a second.
Mm,
So, and everything I've seen, I mean, because I got the Zastava
That's
Z
a good
Pap
one.
M70. I love it. It's a great. It's
Mhm.
a fun gun. The biggest downside is it's a Yugo platform, so it's harder to get stuff for. But
Yeah.
today and in today's market, you're seeing more Yugo stuff, so it's not as bad. I mean, you can flat out get battlefield Yugo furniture that's been like engraved like trench art and stuff on it. You can find that online. It's getting a little bit harder
Hmm.
now. It was a year ago. You could find all sorts of crazy stuff. It was cool. You can full on get some like crazy furniture for it. But anyway, but everybody's like, oh, it's all right, whatever. But they're going through all this stuff and they're talking about these AKs and they're like, 4 years ago, this was a $500 rifle. Now, 1,100 bucks. Um,
Yep.
but
But
you,
Palmetto stayed relatively consistent, man. Like
yeah.
I bought mine and it was not far off the $500 mark on a
How would you
sale.
buy it though?
S- 2 years ago, I think,
Okay,
maybe three.
but
Relatively recent.
the other part of the problem is AR guys who go to the AK are expecting something completely different than what they get with the AK. It is a different platform, a
Bro,
different rifle.
going from AR to AK is going from like BMW to Honda Civic. It's like
But
completely different
Honda's fun
cars,
to
you know.
drive, man. You
I
know
know
the
that
Civic's not fun to
Hon-
drive.
Hondas
Yeah.
are reliable and simple.
Yep.
That's the AK,
Yep.
right? BMWs
Uh,
are fun, but a little
you
TLC,
don't want to
right?
beat it up though. You're gonna baby
Yes.
it because you don't want to. You are not gonna hurt an AK. You're just not going to.
No, no. Me and
Um,
you both know, like
yeah.
the guys that carry AKs in the
Hey,
desert,
clean
that
that
it's
thing.
the
I've never
same
cleaned it. How
ones
do you take it
from.
apart? Don't know. Never
Yeah,
had to worry about it. Okay, it just works.
his AK is fine. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. It's
it's
made out
fine.
of like it's made out of compressed wood fiber. It's not even real wood. But
You've seen the
uh
pictures with like AKs where the buttstock's like a shovel handle. They just like weld it
I
together.
haven't seen that. Wouldn't surprise me though. I mean,
It
I'm telling you,
works.
we were given Afghans AKs. I think they were made in Bulgaria or something. We were buying, the government was buying them at 28 or $23.
That's
Is what we were
crazy.
buying them for, like bulk AKs. But
Oh man, that's talking to guns. Let me sidebar for a second. So I talked about my grandpa, right?
yeah,
And they're cleaning out like his shed with like old stuff. They found some rifles in there, and so my uncle was sending me pictures like, "Hey, look at these. You know, let
a
me know,
Mauser from World War II that he's brought back.
dude." Japanese Arasaka.
There
I
you
was
go.
like, "Let me tell you, if it needs a home, let me know. Do not sell it. That's priceless. To
So
me, it is priceless."
we want to go back to the AR stuff, but talking about grandpas and guns, right? So my grandpa in, man, it would have been like 2017, somewhere in there.
Hmm.
He's dying, right? He's
Hmm.
got uh cancer in his esophagus or whatever, and they did work on it and all that.
Mm.
I mean, it was just time. He was like 90, and he pretty much had home hospice. And he's like, "Hey, I got a gun. I need you to come and get it." Right? And we
Mm.
talked about this for a long time. He's like, "I want to keep it. If it comes down to it, I'll just use it on myself." I'm like, "Dude, don't do that.
Oh
Like,
shit.
call
Yeah.
me. I'll
Yeah.
drive you to Oregon. We'll get some doctor assisted crap before you go and shoot yourself, and grandma will find
Hmm.
you, whatever." Right? So he calls me, and so I go make a road trip from, I was in Wisconsin at the time, Wisconsin down to Georgia, Valdosta area,
Okay.
Lee's
Yeah.
Valley
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And we drive down and made a road trip out of it and pick it up. And I had never seen it. I always, he talked about it, right? He got this thing when he was working in like, I want to say it was Chicago or somewhere
Hmm.
in like the early 70s. And he carried it for protection and whatever, probably before there were a whole lot of like crazy gun laws and whatever.
Rifle or
And
pistol?
pistol.
Okay.
And I always thought it was like an old, like 32 revolver or
Yeah.
something, right? I knew it was a pocket pistol. And so I don't know if I ever pulled this thing out for you to shoot or not. So anyway, so I go down there and he gives me this pistol in a box. I think it's wrapped in a cloth inside a box. And it's in the original box. It's a
Okay.
Sterling Arms 22 Saturday Night Special.
I
And
think
so
you showed me that one. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It's
I mean,
little.
oh yeah, yeah. It's wild to shoot. It
Yeah.
feels unsafe. I would never carry it for personal protection. Um, but it's fun. I mean, it's a
Mm.
fun little gun. But I'm like, dude, I mean, because I always wondered if it was even like if he even legally owned it. Once he showed me the box, because I figured he probably bought it off some dude in the street, some
He
crackhead
takes
who
it
was
out of a
smoking it.
sock.
Well, I'm almost certain it was in the box, and it still has like the original manual and stuff. I'm pretty sure it was in the
Wow.
box, in like a sock or wrapped in a handkerchief or something that he had. It was just sitting
Nice.
in the back of the closet. I mean, he
Classic
still had the
grandpa
original
moves.
rounds he bought with it.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's, I mean, he just didn't want it. I
You
mean, he didn't
never
want it
know
sitting around
what
the
people are.
house when he died, and if his
Yeah.
wife finds it or something.
You never know what grandpas are packing, man. I
Oh
have
yeah,
another family member with a World War II era rifle that is not Japanese, but another Axis power that I want to get a hold of so bad because it's collectible. You know,
yeah.
it's such a collectible thing. You know, you
Well,
can't
yeah, it's like
find.
hard to find ammo for him, probably.
Oh, it would just be just to hold on to. You know,
Oh,
just
you want to
for.
shoot it? You know you
Oh
want to
yeah,
shoot
yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, maybe a Mauser. Come on, that would be
Yeah,
so
it's
cool,
gonna cost you a
man.
few bucks to pull the trigger.
Yeah, but just to touch history, good or
Yeah,
bad, to just hold something couple 100 something years old,
yeah.
you know,
Well, that's
that would be so cool.
and so because like back to the like let's go back full circle back talking about like AR guys to AKs and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know people talking about. I watch. There's a video. I haven't watched it yet, but this guy's ranking like the top 15 AR brands and all this stuff you should stay away
Daniel
from.
Defense, blah blah
Well, and I
blah.
mean, he's talking about all these things. You know, these ARs
Rock
that
River.
cost 2 grand and everything. Like, oh, stay away from these, the other ones, or whatever. But in all reality, number one, who's going to put that many rounds through an AR they've got to worry about? Because I've watched videos where they burn up a PSA, right? They put
Yeah, yeah.
like 1,000 rounds to it. Oh,
Oh
it's
yeah,
not holding.
classic one. Iraq Vet 8888. He does tons of burn downs
Yeah.
on like
Well, this was,
those.
I think it was Graham Thumb. He's burning down a PSA. It's
Same.
like, oh,
Yep.
yeah, we're at 1,000 rounds. It's not holding zero anymore. The MOA is all jacked up. Okay, cool. Well, how about you just unscrew the barrel and put a new barrel on it for like $75?
Hmm.
And guess what? you're back to a 1M weight rifle for
Hmm.
$75. Or you might need to buy a new crimp washer or whatever,
Here's
brush
the deal
washer
though, like
for the flash suppressor. But I
the
mean,
dude the dudes that buy these, there's two people that would buy a
they
gun
don't even
like
buy
that,
that
right?
shit though. They get it for free because it's sent to them for their channel to advertise
Yeah.
stuff.
You get two people like the layman, right? You get a guy that's like wanting to be in the hype club, like in
Yeah,
the sneaker club. You buy the or watch club. You buy the nicest one. Oh yeah, I got this badass gun from the whoever. You know what I mean? Or you got the actual enthusiast that's like buying it for sport, right? Because they're
yeah,
literally gonna pit a freaking assload of rounds down just for
yeah.
training and stuff.
But those, I mean, but you also have the, I mean, we would call them fobbits back in the day. They've got all the shit on it, but it's
It's
never actually been used, right?
also known as the Air Force.
Well, so they weren't air where I was at. They weren't Air Force dudes. They were Army dudes who just never
Yeah.
left. I mean, I don't know if I ever told you this, but like we would be out for a week plus. We'd come back.
Fobbits.
The
I
first
never,
place we'd
that's
stop was the
ridiculous.
chow hall,
Yeah.
and like, you know, I hadn't, you know, we had haven't showered in over a week. You know what I mean? Been living on just MREs and whatever cans of soup we had, or chicken McGuffin locals and
Yeah.
whatever.
Chunky soup.
Yep, and we'd roll in and we'd stop at the chow hall. And this is Afghanistan, not Iraq. Iraq had
Mm.
standards. Afghanistan didn't. And we were with the
Yeah.
173rd. We really didn't care. And we'd roll in the chow hall, and like we'd be filthy, like head to toe filthy, right? And
Just
like we'd
dirty.
go wash our hands for the first time with like soap and water, right? Go get in the chow hall. Our rifles,
Your
you know,
hands are clean and the
yeah.
rest of you's like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
just
yeah. And I'm
gross.
sure you smell like death, right? And our
Yeah.
rifles, like the only thing that's clean on us, our hands and probably our rifle. And we're in line in the chow hall, and people would let us around them because mostly because we smell bad, I'm sure.
Mm.
And like we're looking at these dudes, and their uniforms are like pressed and clean. And you can smell the detergent on the people, right? You can
Yeah.
smell the soap on them, and their rifle would be absolutely filthy. But it'd have the
Yeah.
double magazine clamp on it, have a flashlight,
With
whatever else.
the dust cover on the end that you
Yeah,
would shoot
yeah,
through.
yeah. On the
Yeah.
cap, but like, dude, you're never gonna use that rifle, and it's absolutely filthy. I'm like, when was the last time? And they'd have a 305 card on it with their name and address and their unit and all that stuff because they're gonna leave it in the chow hall at least once while they're deployed. And no, it's just it's embarrassing. But it's the same way with all the guys that have. I mean, I watched a video where they were complaining about the Yugo pattern rifles. Like, oh, you got to get a special clamp on here or mount if you
Mm.
want to put an optic on it. Well, you know what? If you know you're
About a little
buying a
side
Yugo,
paddle mount.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I've got one. But I mean, if you know you're buying a Yugo AK platform, you already know you're going to look for a specific maker
Hmm.
that sells those things.
Hmm.
But you know, and all this guy, I get a lot. I get tired of all the people that are out there that are poo poo and all these things. I really like it when they do the whole.
It's one thing, brother. It's clickbait.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
what's the Turkish company that's making the shotgun that's competing with the Benelli M4? No, it's like
Oh,
Panzer or something, is
no, no,
it?
no. Hold on. Starts with the S. Is it Stoger?
It's probably a derivative of Stoger, but it's not Stoger itself. But they're making a clone M4 shotgun, and these guys are like, it's exact same thing. I mean, why
Yeah.
would you pay 2Gs for a shotgun? You can get this one for 700. It's the exact same thing.
Benelli's are big money, dude.
Yeah, yeah, but it's all
Like
in the name.
Beretta. Like
Yeah,
they had a Beretta auto shotgun called the Patrol M400 or something,
yeah.
and I was eyeballing it and I was like, two bills,
No,
you
not worth it.
know, for
You
a
can go get a
shotgun.
Mossberg for 450.
I got my Mossberg 590 A1. I
Yep,
mean, we both talked about those. Legendary. Now, to be fair, I bought it 10, 12 years ago for like 500 or 600 bucks.
still gonna
You
work.
know, it's legend. Those things are
Yeah,
pu- pump action Mossberg.
but
It's
that's what the
all you
military
need.
uses.
It's all you
Unless
need.
you're in some special ops group or something.
Yep.
But I mean, I carried a Mossberg 590 in Afghanistan, and
That's
it
a
worked.
great shotgun.
Uh, but and it's the same thing with the TSOS 1911. You know, people, oh, it's a
Mm.
Turkish 1911.
I love
I,
my T
I've
sauce.
watched a ton of videos, and they're like dollar for dollar. This is like one of the better pistols you can get. Why would you spend uh,
That combat
Kimber
commander
money
I
on a
got,
pistol? Yeah,
the only upgrade I did was swap the grips to G10
yeah.
grips. That's it.
Well, I
40
mean,
bucks,
I mean,
done.
I bought their A1 1911, the U.S.
Hmm.
Army one. All I did is put walnut grips on it with a U.S. stamped on or carved into them. That's
Nice.
all I've done with it. But I mean, and I'm not carrying it for personal protection. I probably would. I think it's
Hmm.
reliable. It functions. It does exactly what you need it to.
It weighs 3 pounds.
It does. But it's a 1911.
It's like a freaking flintlock pistol. You pull that bad boy
You could
out.
beat somebody to death with it if you needed
Yes, you
to.
could.
Um,
It's
but
like a
I mean, I'm
blunderbuss.
most definitely not going to carry that hiking for personal protection or anything. I've got other options.
You know,
But
I was looking for a gift for my dad for his birthday, and we had talked about these in the past, and I almost got him one, but I really don't know if he would do it.
a T-sauce pistol?
No, a black powder pistol, because I could ship that to him.
Okay, well, you can just go to
The
Bass Pro and walk out with it.
the cap and ball one or whatever you're talking
Okay,
about.
have you
I was like,
shot
that
those or
is
not?
no. You told me about it, and it's
Okay,
like a whole process and
it
measurements and
is.
calculations.
So
And like in my mind, you're telling me all these like formulas and stuff. All I can think of is like a mystic in my shed, like an alchemist, trying to brew all the stuff together.
so
I'm like, like
okay.
no.
Next time we go out and shoot, I will bring. So I don't have any flintlock. Everything I have is percussion cap.
The
But I've
cap
got
and
an
ball. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay, so I've got an 1858 Remington New Army. Well, I think it's called the Safe Army, but a pistol. So it's a six-shot pistol. Got to load each cylinder individually. I've got that, and then I've got a Springfield Hawken 50 caliber rifle.
I think
Uh,
you brought that
did
long
we ever
gun.
shoot it though?
No, he brought it. It's like God dang, it's like a as tall
Yeah.
as me.
Oh,
It's a
it's
big old
heavy. It's got
rifle.
brass inlays and stuff on
Yo,
it.
that sucker was solid. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
a tree branch, brother. Like
Yeah.
God
Oh, yeah.
Almighty.
You could beat somebody with it as well. Big, heavy octagonal barrel. Tell you what,
Yeah.
that barrel gets so cold in January in Iowa when you're deer hunting.
You know
Holy
what it
crap. Don't
reminded me
touch it with
of?
your bare hand.
When we looked at that, it reminded me of one thing, like a Goffy stick from the Tusken Raiders from Star Wars. That's
Yeah.
what it's like. This is like a
It would
Gaffy or
be
Goffy
similar.
stick.
It would
Yeah,
work.
hit like a
It,
mace on the end. You got a
yeah.
Goffy stick, man.
So, okay. So you need to shoot both those. I'm just thinking of all the stuff I got to put in the truck next time to go out.
I'm on the prowl for. I think my next weapon of choice would probably be like a retro pump shotgun, like not a like the 590 is heavy duty, is solid, right?
Yeah.
But like a lightweight 18-inch barrel pump, like light pump. You know what I mean? Like a 500 Persuader
Get a
type deal.
shockwave.
No, it has to have a stock. It has to have a stock. It
The
has to.
shockwave's so much fun. It's so
I
crazy.
so I like those, but I like what's the term?
You can get the shockwave
Like
in 410. Just saying. To make them.
yeah, I like the style of just a pump shotgun though. The way it
Yeah.
looks, the
The
aesthetic of it.
functionality. I mean, it's
Yep.
simplistic. It's almost like a revolver, but it's a shotgun.
Or my other option is like a PDW, like the AK platform PSA 9 mil,
Yeah.
like the uh, it's like a mini AK almost, but it's a pistol, right?
So,
But they're just
yeah,
high. It's like a
I
thousand. I'm like,
there's a lot of those that I don't know. I
I
mean,
told you
because
my dream would be like an MP5, but
you can't afford those.
I'm not dropping the money on
Um,
it. It's not worth it to
and I
me.
mean, I don't. I mean, I've got the two AR pistol platforms now. I mean, I don't. Once I got one in like 9 mil or something, I think
Hmm.
I'm done on that.
It
And
would have to be 9 mil.
I think my next splurge, it's not even gonna be a splurge, be under $300, is gonna be the AR-7 survival rifle.
Yeah,
Now made by Henry, and everything fits in the butt stock or whatever. You screw the barrel on. It's like a
those are way
9 round
cool.
magazine. Yeah, I mean, but just to throw in the car or a backpack if you're doing
Yeah,
whatever.
it's got it's super simple. Click
Yep.
it together, right? And then I think the front sight has a big, super orange
Yep.
like little tip.
Yeah, just a little orange blade.
Yep.
I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but you know, 50 yards away, shooting a rabbit to live off of if you're out there and you need it. I
You
mean,
get stuck in the frozen tundras of Iowa, you'd be
yeah,
safe.
but just to have it in the back of I mean, to throw it in the backpack, under the seat in
Mm.
the car, or whatever. I mean, it's not something you're going to go out and assault the neighbors with, but it's something if something bad does happen, you have it with you.
Hmm.
But like, I mean, I went on the base the other day. I was like halfway there, and I was like, oh shit, I got to turn around. I got an AK in the back, and full of
Oh,
mags
that's
and
the
stuff. Well,
worst.
I can't roll through the gate today.
Yeah.
So I had to turn around and go drop that stuff off. But I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. And that like the the dude we know who had his Rock River and his barrel
Mm,
fouled with a crappy second. I guarantee you, all they did is put a barrel on it. I guarantee they took the
yeah.
barrel off, replaced the barrel, charged him $75, and he's got some crap barrel on there. That I mean,
You take the barrel out and it's jammed full of cleaning cloths.
but so he called me once. This is probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and the buffer retaining pin broke and he couldn't
Okay.
figure out how to replace it or whatever else. I'm like, dude, you got to take the whole buffer tube off and whatever. And
Mm.
it's not difficult, but you need a wrench to get the castle nut off the buffer tube and whatever. He's like, oh. He took it into one of the gun stores and
How do you break
talked
that
to them.
off? I mean, I guess it
I don't
does.
know. I don't know. But he had that happen. He had something else happen that he called me about. But
Do
I'm like,
you
he
think
just has no skill level one like maintenance.
do you think the barrel and the retaining pin broke because it was chambered for 223 and he shot 556?
I doubt it. I don't
You know
think
what I
there's
mean?
enough. Yeah, that's not going to cause the buffer retaining pin
Well, the
because
gases are too high, right?
yeah, but you got to cut out on your bolt carrier on the bottom that goes around that pin. And so unless that's off and
Okay.
there's something following that, then that could. But I don't think so. I think it's just I don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, and I just but I mean he's also convinced it's a full auto AR.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Sure. Sure it is.
So, but I mean, he's like, he called me. I'm doing something. I'm like talking to him. He's like, well, it's got this going. I'm like, dude, it's just a. I mean, it's a $3 part. Just get a. The biggest thing is you have to invest in a wrench, but you could probably. I
Yeah.
mean, like, call me. I've got two of them. I could loan you one and just take that piece off, pull that all out, and just fix it.
You
But
know, we're talking about like fun things to get. Because I've been playing a Western game, maybe I'll just get the Ruger Vaquero or whatever it's called, the little 22 revolver
yeah.
shaped like the cattleman, whatever it's
Yeah, I
called,
know what it's
something like
called. I
that.
have one. I've got the heritage version, and it's a
Do you
22
like
or
it?
22 Magnum. It's a toy. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
just for
fun. I
fun, you
wouldn't carry.
know.
I mean, I might carry it around the
Without
yard to
blinking.
shoot like a groundhog or something with, but I'm not gonna carry it like if I was mowing the lawn or something.
We'll never
Oh
know if
no,
it's
if I have
winter.
groundhogs in my yard, I'm shooting them because I don't
Yeah.
want them living at my house. So armadillo, same way.
Talking about groundhogs, I saw a video the other day. This guy had a groundhog in his garden and he put a camera up to see what was eating all his vegetables. The groundhog would take the vegetables from his garden, walk over to the camera, and eat it in front of the camera for weeks, every day. It would take something and purposefully walk over to the camera and eat it in front of the camera. I'm like, you evil little critter.
Yeah,
You-
that Ruger that you're talking about, pretty much the same. It's the same thing as like the heritage that I've got,
yep.
except for it's gonna cost $50 more.
You know why? Because it says Ruger.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, oh yeah,
not.
1000% because it
Yeah,
says
it's got
Ruger.
the stamp.
Yeah,
But Ruger makes good stuff. They're
they
solid.
do.
They're
I
rock
mean, there's
solid.
because like I mean, so like right now, my hiking carry stuff is either the 357 with the heavy copper bullets, or one of the 40s that I need to find like some. I need to find some hard cast rounds for it, but I don't know if the XD could take the pressure on that, so I don't want to like necessarily do that right now.
You ever thought about converting your Glock 40?
To what?
9? You just swap the barrel, right? I think
No.
that's literally it, right?
Well, you probably could, but it's a
Google
Glock
that. I think you
22.
can. I think the 1922. I think literally
It's the same
all
frame. I
you.
know that much. You might have
I
to
think you
change the
literally
slide,
just
and this I
swap the
bet you just
barrel and the mag. I think that's it.
hold on,
So if they make suppressors legal, that would be a project. You know what I mean?
hold on. Can you swap a Glock? Can you swap a Glock 40?
Glock 22 and 19, are they interchangeable? Right? I think that's the terms. I think it is.
Well, here isn't Glock talk. You need a conversion barrel, not OEM. A
Okay.
9 mil barrel will not work without a conversion type barrel.
So
I
that's got to be the
guarantee you
same
could probably go on
size.
Palmetto or Midwest Arms or whatever it is
Hmm.
and find one.
Hmm.
But that's
You
asking for
could probably find a
trouble.
threaded one.
I can find a thread 40 caliber barrel. 40
True.
caliber ammo can be cheaper than
If
9 mil sometimes to make
yeah,
ammo.
and you could probably find it. We talked about that
Yeah.
a few episodes back. Yeah.
Shooting 9 mil near 40 just a barrel away. YouTube.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I
See,
probably could.
if you
And then
wanted
just
to
throw the barrel in a
consolidate.
river and just put my 40 barrel back in and be like, it wasn't my gun. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
See?
What do you mean?
Double Diamond Gen 5 40 Smith & Wesson to 9 mil conversion. That
I
strip
think.
showing a threaded barrel. Maybe. I've never looked at it, never thought about it.
Yeah, yeah. You ought to think about it. Could be a cheap and easy. And then you can always go
Yes.
back if you wanted to.
I could just, yeah, just drop the barrels, change
Yeah.
magazines. Yeah.
Maybe I'll get like a little plink pistol, like the little 22 revolver. That'd
So,
be
what
cool,
I would
man.
recommend if you were
Hit
going to
some little
do that,
cans up.
go with a go with a Browning is it
The
camper
buckmark.
buckmark. Yeah, yeah. I have
Yeah,
one.
I
You've
think.
shot mine, haven't
Yeah,
you?
we shot. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. That's a good pistol.
Ruger makes one very similar too. They're both
It's
probably about the
the
same price
remember. It's
range.
the aesthetic though. It's the aesthetic, man. Have that
But
Western
it's
style pistol.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I've got one of each. But
Yeah.
the Browning, so that Browning buckmark, the rear sight's fully adjustable, right,
Oh
left,
yeah,
up,
yeah,
down.
yeah.
You can dial that thing in. I'm telling you, at 25 yards, I was shooting shotgun shells off a target frame.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's just it is, but it is a great fundamentals tool for pistol shooting because it's lightweight, no recoil, but so as far as like maintaining your sight picture, trigger squeeze, all that stuff, because it's not a loud blast and whatever else. You can
Hmm.
just work on your fundamentals, and it costs nothing to shoot. So I mean, there is that for it, but you can also put the same ammo in, the 22, the Wildcat or the
Hmm.
Ruger, or whatever, not the Ruger, but the Remington 5
I
millimeter, whatever the hell
love.
my rifle is.
I love my Wildcat, man. It's
Yeah.
awesome. That is a way
Well,
cool.
I want a 22 Magnum pistol, but I don't know what if I want to find like a lever action like the Henry, or if I want a like a semi-auto. I've heard that those are not as reliable for the 22 Magnum for some reason. I don't know
I,
why, but I've
I
heard
don't
that.
know, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've shot 22 mag. I've taken some small game with a 22 mag.
Yeah, well, 22 mag. I mean, it'll reach out and touch something. I mean that
Yeah.
Heritage Rough Rider pistol I have has got a 22 mag cylinder on it. I've shot 22 mag out of that with no issue.
Yeah,
It's
small
fine.
game, 22 mag, done.
Watched a guy with a lever action Henry um, shooting wild hogs with a 22 mag.
Does Winchester make a lever gun that's 22?
Oh, hold on.
Because they started making the same ones that made the Wildcat. Winchester started like a Turkish branch, and I love my Wildcat, man. It takes Ruger mags, but I wonder if they made a 22 because it'd probably be cheaper than a Henry. Henry's that American made. You pay 'em premium. I'm
It
not
is
dissing American
700
made stuff,
bucks
but
for that.
man,
A
it's
little like
high for what
550
it is.
700. Okay, Winchester rifle model 9422 for sale. These all look old.
I don't know. There was one
Sports
company
Rifle.
I thought made a 22 lever gun. Let me see. Outside of
Yeah, it
Henry.
is out of hold on. It's that is it the hold on.
Rossi?
Yes, Rossi, which is the
No.
Taurus. It's the
Look up
Taurus family.
the Winchester Ranger
Okay, hold on.
22 LR. It
Rossi
looks
Rio
just
Bravo 22 mag, black lever action, 379 for that bad boy.
see, that's better than
Henry
600.
Golden Boy
Yeah,
599.
yeah. You can get the Heritage Edition, you get the VFW version of the Henry lever gun,
Dude,
you know.
you know what? I'll tell you about my VFW story here in a minute. I got pissed last
I
much for
told
VFW.
I told you my all right, you play bingo at VFW. My VFW story was I got voted in, I got a beer, and I left. That's the VFW.
So,
It's
okay,
like
hold on.
the
What was
most
that?
depressing
What was
place.
that Winchester you want me to look up?
Oh, hold on. The Ranger, Winchester Ranger, 22 LR, the new lever action. How much are they?
That's 22
Winchester.
LR. I want it in 22 mag.
Oh, I see. Yeah, 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 yeah,
But anyway, okay, so I go to the VFW, and so they do free bingo every Friday, and anybody
yeah.
can go. It doesn't matter. Everybody in the community shows up to this because it's free, and they all know each other, right? And so the first couple of times we went, and we go in there, and like it's hard to find a place for like three of us to sit together because there's so many people in there.
Really?
Oh yeah, the whole
Dang.
community shows up, and so we're like, oh shit, we gotta be early, right? And so when you go and you enter the VFW, there's like a 105-year-old lady sitting at this desk, and you got to sign in and she's gonna give you
Okay.
bingo cards, right?
Yeah.
It's like okay, so we go and we see Myrtle and we sign in and whatever. So we're like we gotta get in early, so we show up early.
She just say Myrtle.
Yeah, yeah, because they don't even start letting you
Yeah.
seat until 6. Bingo doesn't start
Excuse me.
till 7. So like
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna get there at like 5:50, right? There's a line of 50 people to get in at 5:50. So we're like, oh shit. Okay, so we get in line, right? And we get in, everybody goes and starts running to their seats. Well, we still got to sign in. Somehow they already signed in, got their bingo cards before 6. All they got to do is go to their seat. So, I mean, either Myrtle knows them or that's just the
Yeah.
way it works. We sign in and we go sit down, right? And we go to sit down, and the first seat my wife wants is this table. This lady had all of her bingo markers out and marked the whole table off. She's like, oh no, these are my friends. They're coming later. She reserved a whole
What?
table. And I'm like, bull crap. Whatever. So we went and found some other place to sit that night. So this time now, it's my wife's like, hey, we're going to take this table from that old lady. I'm like, no, because in this what this table is, you can't see the monitors of the bingo numbers on them. And so I don't want to sit
Ah.
here. And so we go over and we find this other table. We go sit there. And they're like, oh no, that's grandma's table. You can't sit there. It's reserved. And I'm like, well, how do I reserve a table? And the lady's like, well, you can't. I'm like, well, grandma did, you know? And so then we go and sit at some other table. So we're sitting there, right? I'm already a little bit hot because
Yeah.
just this place isn't friendly. And I'm a member, you know what I mean? So then, we're sitting down, we're kind of waiting for everything to happen. I'm like, I'm gonna go get a beer. And this has happened now on multiple occasions. I go back to the bar and I find a spot in the bar and I stand there. And the guy walks past me again. People will come and sit down. He'll go talk to them, get them a beer, go talk to some other people, get them a beer, walk past me 3 or 4 more times. And eventually I make eye contact and kind of like put up my hand. He'll come over and be like, hey, what can I help you with? And I'm like a beer, right? I get a beer and I go. And then this happens every single goddamn time I go in
You're not a
there. And
made
so
man. You're a
that's what
life
it is.
member,
I'm
but you're
not,
not a
well,
made man.
I'm not one of the VFW barflies who knows him,
Yeah.
who's there every night of the week. And so
Spending that
I'm there
disability
sitting there with
money.
my kid and whatever, and he does the same exact thing. I go back to life, I'm like, let's fucking leave. Let's go.
Mm.
Because it's not even fun. And of the 500 people that are here tonight, there's probably 30 that are members. The rest are just
Yeah.
people local that come here to play bingo and do whatever else.
Their
But to be a
meme was
member
a
of an
vet.
organization and be like treated like shit because you aren't here drinking with them every night and you can't even get service at the bar, you're
Yep.
not a community organization for the people that belong. And it
You're
pissed me
you
off, man.
you're a bar is what it is.
Yeah.
The
But for the
VFW
for
is
the
a
locals
bar.
that hang out there and whatever else, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like, this isn't fun. I mean,
Mm.
I want to be a member of something to where I'm a member of it. I don't want to be
Yeah.
just whatever.
We need to get
Um,
you. I need to go back to the occult and get you into the occult and do all the secrets, the Illuminati.
I'm not going to qualify, dude, unless
You
I
just
can
gotta
like
believe in something.
Mother Nature. Does
Well,
that count?
something, a higher
I believe
power.
in the sun, like the Aztecs or whatever.
Yeah, just a.
Sacrifice people and eat their hearts.
It's just a higher power, right? So I think in Islamic countries, this, Muhammad or whatever,
Yeah.
Allah. I think it is. I think
It's
it's
Allah, but they pray to
Allah.
Muhammad the same way that people pray to Christians pray to Jesus. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, so I do have a new Bible passage that is my thing. I'm going to start
Oh,
using
let's
for
hear it.
stuff. It is Matthew 10:34. Oh, Matthew is fitting.
Hey,
But let me pull this up for you here,
I've
and
probably heard it.
I will
Let's
read
see.
it verbatim.
If you start talking to like Old Testament stuff, it gets big wild.
This isn't Old Testament
Old
necessarily.
Testament God didn't play around. Like he would open the earth and swallow like thousands of
So
people.
I don't know where Matthew is in the Bible. Is that Old
New
Testament or not?
Testament, New Testament.
Okay. So here's Matthew 10:34.
Okay.
Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. That's my
Ah,
new
good.
that's my new
Good.
Bible quote I'm gonna put on everything. Matthew 10:34.
That's
Do not
awesome.
think I came to bring peace. I
Mm.
came with a sword.
That's probably
Yeah.
about the time that he was in the temple flipping tables over for all the money changers. There's money changers in
So
the temple,
this
and he
says
went,
explanation. Jesus' mission was to bring truth, which divides people into those who accept it and those who reject it.
mm,
Jesus' words in Matthew 10:34 to 36 challenged people to prioritize their relationship with him and to understand what lordship looks like.
mm.
So that goes back to my stuff with the original like white people coming to America. I got a gun and a
Yeah,
Bible. Which
yeah.
one do you want to believe?
Oh, dude.
The good book.
So
Sounds good. I'll believe the good book.
talking about the original people, and this is like why we're like Royal Ramble.
Yeah.
So on the game I'm playing in the frozen mountains, you could find the body of a Spanish conquistador frozen at the top, and take his helmet and wear his conquistador helmet. So
What?
I'm looking for him right now. He's frozen at the top.
So do you like stop and eat and stuff, or you die if you don't
Yeah, you
eat?
got to sleep for your health and stamina and all that.
So it's like Minecraft.
Kinda, you don't craft. I mean, you can make stuff. You can make
I think you make
tonics
food,
and
don't
stuff.
you?
You gotta make tonics. You can make food
Yeah.
to rest up. You gotta shave. Get a haircut. Sometimes you gotta bathe.
Is this on
Eh,
Xbox?
PS5,
PS5. Okay.
PS5. But if you got the Switch, you could buy the original on sale. Play
Yeah.
the OG. That one's great. It's great.
Is that where you like lasso some hussy and
Yeah,
kind of drag it around?
you can lasso criminals or just random citizens.
Yeah.
Take them off, or you can lasso someone and lay them on the train tracks like an old
Really
villain. Yes, 100%, hundred
interesting.
percent. The I actually failed a mission earlier because I lassoed this guy, and I was crossing a river that was too deep, and I drowned him.
Whoops.
I was like, "Oh, whoops."
Could you
Let me.
imagine
That would suck.
life back then, though?
No
I mean,
way.
they
It's
just.
literally Wild West.
I don't know if you're still rolling Netflix or not, but did you ever watch The Highwaymen with Kevin
Mm-mm,
Costner and Woody Harrelson?
mm-mm.
More or less, it's a story of the guys that hunted down Bonnie and Clyde, and they
Oh,
were a
interesting.
couple of like old school Texas Rangers, and the governor of Texas is like, "Here's your warrant. Just go find them and do what we can't do legally." And it's like, they're talking about the stories of what they did back in the day and all that in there. But then, I mean, there's a point in time, you're like 30 minutes into the whole movie, and Kevin Costner's character goes into a gun store in somewhere in Texas.
Mm,
He's like, I'll take that Colt Monitor. I'll take how many Tommy guns you got? I'll take 3 of these Tommy guns. How many of those drum magazines you got? I need 4,000 rounds of
mm.
45. I need this. I need that. They're like, mind if I ask what you're doing? Don't mind. He's like, what? He's like, I'm not gonna tell you. He's like, but I'll take all this. And he's like, they're loading all these guns out into his car and everything. I'm like, I miss the days. Well, I never had them, but I wish you had them. You just walk in and buy a machine gun.
Yeah,
It's like 10 of them, and nobody's calling
yeah.
anybody. Just buying 10 machine guns.
One of the fun things about playing this game is it tries to capture that, like, the thought of being in the Wild West. So you'll walk up on a house and people real wary, like, "What do you want here?" And you gotta like try to calm down, like, "Hey, just looking for this one guy,"
Yeah,
and they're waiting at the door with a gun, like ready, because they don't know who you are. They
yeah,
don't know if you're like a bandit or whatever, gang or whatever.
yeah.
You just got the
So
whole
I started
family,
blasting.
literally the whole family staying on the porch with just shotguns and stuff ready. And you're like, you got to explain what's going on. Like, hey, I'm looking for this, criminal, blah blah
Then you
blah.
hit the wrong button and you blast the dad.
You're in a barber shop and you need a haircut and you pull the wrong trigger.
So what happens
You
if you don't get a
cause an
haircut?
incident.
You get lose points for not getting a haircut.
No, so um, if you travel a lot, you start to stink and you get
Okay.
dirty and your clothes are gross. So you gotta take a bath. If you don't shave for a long time, your beard grows way out, and the villagers are like, oh, they kind
They
of
don't want to
make
deal with you.
way. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want to
you
deal
get
with
more
you.
persuasive points if you're clean shaven
Yeah,
too.
you gotta clean up. You gotta
Yeah.
put yourself together a little bit.
There. Have you ever like looked into like hobo culture in America?
No.
So there's
Well, you're
YouTube
you're in a
is
rabbit hole. You talking
YouTube is
about
dangerous. I'll tell you that right
hobo
now.
culture?
So there's okay. So number
I
one,
watched a video about the people that live in the tunnels under Nevada, under Las Vegas.
I've seen some of that stuff because if it
Yeah.
rains, they got problems. But
Oh, I
okay,
bet.
so there's two offshoots on where I'm going. Number one is
Okay.
a guy who explains like everything hobos did from like the 20s to like the 50s and stuff. And he's like,
Okay.
most people think they're just like homeless alcoholics and stuff, but they traveled for work and they traveled by rail. And they had a strict
Yeah, yeah,
code and
yeah.
everything. And like they would all share stuff. He's like, you walk around with a potato in your pocket. One guy would have like two eggs and whatever else. You'd meet at some campsite and you'd all have stew. You'd all bring like one product. You make a pot of stew and you'd all eat whatever else. But he's like talking, they'll tell you where there's a box and whatever else. And you go in the woods and there's a crate and whatever else. There's a tarp in there and stuff to make camp and pots and pans and all this and all the things that you do and like what's in a regular like hobo's pack and all these things and how they stay clean and do everything else because like you roll into town you're looking for a job and so
Yeah.
it's like you got to be presentable, you got to be clean shaven and things like that, so you usually have you got a razor and some soap and stuff and whatever,
Hmm.
you need to be presentable. But then the other one that's the whole other side of this are present day train hoppers that are YouTubers.
Oh
And so this
God.
one guy was riding a train from Atlanta to
It's got to be
Nashville.
dangerous because they're
Yeah,
fast now.
well, they're fast and you have a lot more security because
Hmm.
you'll roll through places that have cameras that are checking the train cars and they'll see you on camera. And the next time that train stops, they're looking for you because they know
Oh,
you're
true.
on the train. They know you're there hours before you even get there. They know
Hmm.
there's so many people on the train. So they're trying to find places to hide on the train that won't be on the cameras. But then but these people are like, I mean, they're recording it and putting it on YouTube and they're hopping
That's
these trains and
crazy.
stuff. And it's just, but I'm like, dude, you got six different GoPros filming this stuff. You're obviously editing the video and put it on there. Where's your laptop and all that? I mean,
Hmm.
it's just doesn't seem you're doing it for clicks. You're not doing it
Yeah.
because that's your lifestyle or whatever. You know, somebody picking you up in Nashville, driving you back to Atlanta or whatever. But it's interesting the stuff that people do. I mean, that's out there.
I miss the simpler times of like playing this game. It just makes you kind of like realize a little bit like how modernized culture is because in
Oh
the
yeah,
game they have different regions and stuff, right? So you can go to like to Mexico and hang out with those guys. You can go to the mountains. You can go to the plains. You can go to the city, right? And so you'll go and spend a few hours just adventuring in the plains, hunting buffalo, and then meeting really cool, interesting people. Then you go to the city. It's all industrialized. There's cars and it's just different. It's just a whole different world. And then you're the character dressed as a cow, however you dress, dressed like
yeah.
an outlaw or whatever, and you just look like a creature out of place. And I'm like, man, this is so interesting.
There was I didn't I'm trying to think if I read this or if I saw it in YouTube. But there was some big rancher out west who's got a billion cows or whatever, and he had like problem with like wolves and things like that eating his cows,
Mm,
and then he more or less found like kids like 18 to 22 years old that wanted to more or less stay on horseback and tend the cows and live out there for like 3 or 4 months at a time and all that. And he's like, I haven't lost a single cow to wolf attack since I've had these kids out here
mm,
working the ranch like they used to. I mean, these people, these cowboys used to hang out there with the cows,
hmm.
monitor them and be there and whatever else, and they were present. And but yeah, and now he's found out that back to the old ways worked. And he's got to
Yep.
find, but you got to find people that want to do that. And I'm sure it's
Hmm.
dirty and whatever else. And you can only carry so much stuff, and that's just the way it
But
is.
but even the knowledge, skills, and ability you would get doing things traditionally are
Oh yeah.
priceless. Like if
Well,
you asked me to repair something like plumbing in my house, it would be
YouTube.
a difficult journey. But like my dad, you could ask my dad, he does this stuff like
Yeah.
easy. You spend like
I
$3 on pipe. You know what I mean? Easy.
I fixed the okay, so I had a 2008 Heritage Softail motorcycle. Big motorcycle, right? It's a cruiser.
Mm.
And I went to get on that one day and I pulled the brake lever or I'm gonna push the brake lever. It had to have been pushed because it was the rear brake. And immediately smelled smoke. And I looked
Ooh.
down and I could see.
While you're
No,
riding.
no, no. It was before I ever took off. I
Oh.
was just started it, and I could see smoke and I could smell like wires burning. And I was like, okay, let me turn this
Oh.
bad boy off, right? And So when you apply the rear brake, there's a pressure switch that tells it to turn the brake light on
Mm.
inside there that interacts with the brakes. Well, that pressure switch, the leads to it burned up or whatever. And I'm like, okay, so I got to change out the pressure switch and the leads and all that stuff. YouTube to the rescue, right? So I go through, I'm watching YouTube to see how to do all this. You got to drain all your brake fluid, you got to bleed the brakes, this, that, and
Ugh.
the other. And as I'm going through these forums and reading all this stuff, they're like, don't go to Harley Davidson for the brake switch because it's the same brake switch that's in like a Chevy Cruze or whatever else. And so you can go there and you can get it for like $3 at AutoZone
Mm.
or like $25 at Harley Davidson. It's the exact same
Wow.
part. So I go and I change out all that stuff. In the process, you got to bleed your brakes. And so I go and I pull the bleeder valve off the back, and it's only like an inch and a half long, right? But whoever had done this before me had used like a pair of pliers and just stripped the shit out of it, so you couldn't even get like a quarter-inch socket on or whatever to get it off.
Mm.
And so I'm like, screw this, I'm going to get a new one, right? And so I go to Harley Davidson, the local Harley Davidson, and I show up to the parts desk and I'm like, hey, I need a bleeder valve for an '08 Heritage Softail, whatever. And the guy hands me this like 4 inch long bleeder valve. And I'm like, that's not right. The one that came out there was like an inch and a half. And he's like, well,
Mm.
this is the part number that's coming back. And there's like legit, like full on patched 1%er motorcycle gang dudes sitting there at the parts counter. And he looks over and he's like, yeah, dude, like 2 years ago, same thing happened to me. They replaced the part. The new one is this universal. It's this long one. Looks stupid, but that's the part. I was like, okay, I trust you, 1%er dude,
Yeah, yeah,
to be
yeah.
honest with me, versus the Harley Davidson dude behind the counter because your bike is your life. You live on that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, okay, cool. I took that part and I bled the brakes the whole 9 yards and got it myself. And I trusted myself to ride that thing. And that was all off YouTube and the word from a 1%er at the Harley Davidson
That's
service
cool,
counter.
man.
Yeah, but I mean, I trusted myself to. I mean, that's dangerous, dude. I mean, I don't
So
even know if
much
I did the brakes in my
breaks.
car, but brakes on a motorcycle,
Yeah.
you're there's no
Yeah.
coasting to a stop in that thing. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna die. But I
I
trusted
saw a
it.
dude I saw a dude on a YouTube short the other day. He was trying to deliver some it's like Talabat or something. It's like Grubhub in
Yeah,
Middle East, right? So he's showing up to like drop off the food delivery. And he's trying to hit the brakes and it wouldn't work. So the guy's like, so he's like, brother, slow down, slow down. And the guy just zoom right up a stairwell, right through some door. I was like, oh no.
good lord.
I mean,
Inshallah, man.
it wasn't super. Yeah, inshallah, it wasn't super fast, but it was fast enough where he did a little damage. I was like, because he had his feet down, doing
Yeah,
everything he could do to stop. I was like, inshallah, God,
the
God wills it, or whatever it
yeah,
is.
the scariest moment I ever had on a motorcycle. I was riding from Fort Campbell to Georgia to my grandparents, Southern Georgia, and
Oh,
I'm
that's a
somewhere.
hike.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, it's a long ride.
That's a
And I'm
hike.
somewhere in near Chattanooga, and I had like a Chevy S10, and the drive shaft fell off the car. And so when you go
Oh,
through like all the motorcycle safety classes and stuff, they teach you how to like if there's debris on the road, like a 2x4 or whatever, how to like ride over that, how to approach it, because you want to come at it at a certain angle. Because if you come at it at a wrong angle, your tire meets it and it'll yeah,
zoom.
yeah. But this is a goddamn greasy ass
A
drive
cylinder.
shaft rolling down the road at 80 miles an hour. And so and there's fluid that came up on my windshield because whenever it went off, like
Yeah.
it hit whatever. So I mean, I'm like I could barely see out and everything. I got around it, but I'm like, you have a very finite amount of time to realize what you're gonna do, what's around you,
Hmm.
where you're gonna go. You got this thing that you're closing in on because it's slowing down, and you've got to figure out where to go because you can't just hop over this object. That was one of the scariest moments I ever had. Coming back from that trip, it
That's
just
scary.
torrential downpour from Chattanooga to like south of Nashville, just torrential downpour. But
That's
that's not that
scary.
bad. I had a rain suit and stuff on. As long as you have some like Rain-X stuff in your windshield so the water just comes off, it's not that bad. Except for every car that is light white or gray that's ever lights on blends into the wash and you can't see them.
That's
And they don't
scary.
think about that. That's where like having your lights on in the rain,
Mm.
like a IQ test for all the people out there that um, either they have their daytime running lights on and they're too retarded to realize that Nobody can see them from behind. At night, I run into these people all the time because they don't
Yep,
realize that
I see him
they're
in the
running their
morning.
daytime running lights. They have no tail lights on in their car, so nobody can see them. So you're an idiot, right? And when I say retard, you're slowing, impeding the process of
Hmm.
traffic around you because you're dumb.
Hmm.
Um, and so that, and then the ones that don't turn any lights on in the rain because they don't realize that people can't see them
Yep.
because they're low IQ humans. They can
In
see
in
everybody
the
else, but nobody can
morning,
see them.
in the
The
morning on
fog's
the
the same way.
interstate, I see at least maybe 2 to 5 people every morning cruising with their DRLs
Yep.
on. No lights. It's pitch black outside. I'm like,
And
you
I don't know how they don't get
idiot.
pulled over.
It's mind-boggling. I don't
Just
know
there just needs some
how.
education to be like, hey, you have no lights on. Oh, I can see. Yeah, your daytime running lights are on, but there's no
Yeah,
lights to the rear of your vehicle. Or just daylight. Why don't they just make cars lights are on 24/7, tail lights and headlights?
yeah,
If you're gonna do
yep.
that, because people don't know. And excuse me, I've seen people roll around Nashville at night because you're in the city. Lights are
Mhm.
on. You don't even realize you don't have any lights on driving around because you can see everything. That's a little bit different
Mm.
um, than being out in the interstate doing 80 with no tail lights on.
Yeah, man. Big crazy. I
Yeah,
don't know how people do stuff like that. It blows my mind.
yeah. But that's I don't know. It is what it is. They're out there. Yeah, the world's full of weird people. But
Well,
yeah,
talking to kind of round up today and talking about big traffic in Nashville area, I pulled up the worst cities with the worst commute or worst cities for commuting. I think Nashville, because I was looking at Atlanta, because I travel through Atlanta from time
yeah.
to time.
Atlanta's horrible.
Atlanta's in like the top five, I think. Nashville was like number 8, 10.
Top 10. Yeah, awesome.
I think it was somewhere in the top 10. And I hit other big cities that I go through sometimes too. The worst ones I think were like LA and Boston and New York were like the
So
top 3, I think.
Boston.
Thank God I haven't driven through any of those. Thank
So
God.
I've been heard Boston's roads. They're like they were made for carts 200 years ago, and they just
Hmm.
built on top of that. So they all go in weird directions. They've got weird intersections and whatever, and they've
They're
never fixed it.
small,
And so it
probably.
creates a lot of weird traffic problems. Um, have you seen that DC? Like all of a sudden, there are a ton of houses on the market in DC,
Yes.
and that the average home price there has dropped by like 150K.
Yes.
Everybody's getting out, man. They're leaving. This is the draining of the swamp that people were talking about. They're just
It's
legit leaving.
I mean, I wouldn't blame. I mean,
I still wouldn't want to live there.
I wouldn't. I can't do it. I've looked at um kind of jobs in my part-time job over in that area, and I just there's no way I could do it. I can't.
No, I couldn't. I couldn't do the commute. I was talking to my boss
Ar
about the slug line
Arlington
thing.
Pentagon area would
Yeah,
suck.
my boss used to use the slug line back in the day.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So she knew about that.
yeah, oh yeah.
That's funny.
But it's that whole area. I couldn't live there. You couldn't pay me to live there.
No.
I mean, I think it's horrible enough. If my commute is 45 minutes,
Yeah,
because that's an hour and a half of my day I don't get back. Let alone now you're talking about your commute's 30 miles and it's going to take you 2 hours one way. 4 hours of
dude.
your life a day in a car? No.
I lived from a state capital. I think it was like 17 miles from a state capital. On a normal like weekend, it's like a 18, 20-minute drive, right? When I would go to work, it was not uncommon for it to be a 45, 50-minute drive one
Yeah.
way.
And just ride your brakes waiting for somebody to jam the brakes
The
before you
whole
hit them.
time. I saw
And
so many
that's
wrecks.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, because driving in, I've got the option of the interstate or taking the side roads, and the side roads 9 times out of 10 are faster than the interstate because if
Yep.
there's any accident in the interstate, you're done and you can't get off the next exit, and everybody's getting off, and it's
Yep.
just not even worth it. And there's times
It's
when I'm
too
going as
dangerous.
fast as the people on the interstate on the side roads. I got to worry
That's
about more deer and wildlife on the side roads, but
true.
generally
True.
it's just going.
The that's where like I'm heavily looking for like our next home, the bigger home, right? Because we're ready to get a
Yep.
bigger home. Is going to be somewhere where my commute is less than 30 minutes and it's got to be an easy drive. I'm not doing any BS.
Yeah. If I can get a desk on post, yeah, in a heartbeat, it would
Done
be
deal.
like a 10-minute commute, man.
Hmm. They were asking if I wanted to do that where I'm drilling or whatever. And I'm like, no, because then the lines would get blurred with
Yeah.
like You know what I mean? It just get too messy.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
gets
You don't
too
want to.
messy.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, that would be that's one of those things like all the folks that are like AGR and stuff like
Hmm.
that or whatever else. I mean, it's just not even AGR. When you're talking about mill techs that have one
Yep.
job one day and then in the weekend they put their uniform on and they got another job, that would be just so much conflict. I mean, I
It's
remember,
messy.
I don't know if I told you this when I was in Saudi, our security dudes were all Air Force guys. They were all guard dudes. And their relationships were weird. Because, I mean, I
Oh,
remember watching
interesting.
an E4 browbeat a first sergeant once because in the real world, the E4 had a construction company and the first sergeant worked for him.
Oh,
And
weird.
more or less, he's like, "Oh, you want me to work Thursday night? You
Mm.
want me to do shift? Well, when we get back to the world, you better pack your bags. You're not working for me anymore." Well, you don't need to work Thursday
Oh,
night. You can work.
man.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad,
That's no
bad.
bueno.
I mean, but like,
No bueno.
why would you get yourself in that position to start with? You might be trying to help
Hmm.
the dude out or something, but you're, but that's where the guard and reserve world is different.
It gets weird. It gets
Yeah.
really weird. I'm just trying to hold on to the weird for 5 years. I'm
Yeah,
just
well, yeah, and then you
five
gotta,
years.
you obviously have the, they got the brass ring in sight. I mean, that's,
Hmm.
yeah, you just got to get there.
I had a guy, he retired. He was a prior E, went to O. He retired with like 8 years as a O. I don't think he gets the O retirement.
He will. 3 years,
You
isn't it?
think so? I
Yeah,
think
it
it's
should be a high
10,
three.
bro. I think on the reserve guard side, I think it's 10.
Well, it might be by points. I don't know on that side because you got all
Yeah,
sorts of weirdness going on in your math over there.
I think it's 10 years you got to hold to carry that into retirement. I think he's
Oof.
retiring as an E6 or he's retiring as an O3, but maybe paid as an E6. I don't know.
Ugh,
It's messy. It's messy.
that would
So
suck.
when I punch, it's going to be clean.
Yeah,
It's going to clean 10 each. You know what I mean?
that's
I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't know.
It's just weird. The
I don't
whole
know if I could
thing's
deal with that
weird.
anymore. I did see where the Secretary of Defense was out doing PT with some troops somewhere in the
Did you see that muscle dude he was with?
no.
Look up Google real quick. The Hulk with Pete Hegseth is the most muscle-clad human I've ever seen in the military. He looks like the Hulk. He is massive.
Whoa.
See him?
Who is this dude?
Dude, that dude is humongous. Pete
How
Hegseth
is
looks
he
like a
fitting in
shrimp.
clothes?
He's those one guys that orders the quadruple XL uniform.
So this is gonna age me here, but so back in the day, we still like BDU days. We'd
Yeah,
roll
yeah.
up our uniforms, and you'd roll up your sleeves. And the way you did
Yeah.
that was you pretty much fold everything over. I knew dudes who had biceps that were so big they couldn't roll up their stuff, so they would get their sleeves hemmed, and they'd have a summer top with the sleeves hemmed up at the top, and it wasn't rolled up because they couldn't roll them up because they
It's
were,
too thick.
yeah, they were just that thick.
Oh, they get in that gym time. That's good,
Well,
right?
but also, I mean, on the regular piss test panel, they don't
Oh
test
shit.
for
Yeah,
steroids.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They have to specifically request that for whatever reason, have
Probably
suspicion.
juiced,
And we had a
juiced
lot
up.
of, I mean, I think there were a lot of people in the late 90s, early 2000s who were juicing.
I
But
don't know how I feel about that. I mean, having
I
guys
think
hyped up
there
on
were,
tea, I don't know. Maybe it's not a
I
bad
think there were a
thing.
lot of people when I was in Afghanistan, 01, 05, that were juicing up there. Because all they would do is eat, go to the
Yeah.
gym, go on mission. That's it. And they were cut by the time they left Afghanistan.
The only two things I was juiced up on in Afghanistan was rippets and cigarettes. That's it.
Oh, God.
That's it.
I mean, I don't even want to think how many cigarettes I smoked when I was
Yeah,
deployed and
yeah.
everything. I
Yeah.
mean, we used to pick up cases of Red Bull and Mountain Dew and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, have I ever told you my Embedder story? So speaking of sodas and stuff like that.
What is
So
it?
an Embedder radio, I'm trying to think the actual nomenclature of it. It's a Harris radio. Is it ITR radio? Yeah, there we go. Embedder
Embitter?
radio. It's a oh, let's go. It's a ANPRC 148 embedder, JEM
Oh, that's
radio,
like some old school looking
and
stuff.
it's not
Okay, yeah.
that old, but anyway, and
Okay.
these things could do. Oh, hell, you can. Oh, it's an airsoft one. I was gonna say, why can you buy that for $700? But anyway, so these radios, you could store a ton of stuff in them. right? And they could talk to anything. They could do all sorts of stuff. You can satellite radio off them. But anyway, and so these radios, you could our frequencies and everything rotated every week,
Mm.
and so it would change, and we could load like 6 weeks worth of crypto in these things, and that's what we would do. And so you'd have it because it would just roll over automatically then.
Mm.
Well, so we were out running a mission to escort ballots around in 2005, and it was like 105 degrees out or whatever. It's like
Oh,
110 degrees inside the
yuck.
truck.
Yeah.
I had a can of Sprite in the truck just explode because it got so hot. Right, so everything's covered in shit,
Ah,
sticky and everything inside the
yuck.
truck. It's gross. And so we're out waiting for these trucks escorting the ballots to meet us in the middle of nowhere, and we're sitting out there bullshitting, smoking, and everything in front of the truck, listening to the radios, waiting for these
Mm.
guys. They close in on us, and then we do. They show up. We do the whole handoff. We start escorting these guys south, and we're like 10 minutes down the road. Where's my radio? Where's my radio?
Oh,
And so I stop the truck and everything, and out on the hood there's a little bit of a shelf below. There's the radio sitting there. There's handheld radio, and and it was like I chalk it up to it being sticky and covered in soda, and that's why I stayed in the hood. But like if it would have fallen off and we would not have lost it, number one, I probably would have fired.
yeah,
They'd
yeah.
probably be like, why do you have like 2 months worth of crypto on the radio? But it would have been done. They would have had to have changed the crypto key for all of Afghanistan for 6 weeks because I lost that radio.
God.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
No,
You didn't.
I was shitting bricks for a few
I
minutes,
would have been
but because we had
white as a
that,
ghost.
we had that happen once in it was in training, and so in Hohenfeld in Germany, when we're in
Mm.
what they call the box, right? So you go in there for 2 weeks or whatever, and you're on mission, and if you get captured by the enemy with your radio, they have to change the crypto to the next crypto window, whatever it is.
Mm.
And so they come across the radio midnight, 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 and that's how you knew to advance to the next crypto set
Mm.
for your radio. And I'm like, man, I would have been like calling somebody would have been calling out over the radio if I lost
God,
that, if I couldn't find it because it's
that's a bad
compromised.
feeling.
Yeah, it's a bad feeling. God,
Jeez.
you don't know how the weight is lifted. You're in like panic mode for like 10 minutes. I'm like, stop the vehicle right now.
Like
We
your
gotta
whole
find
career
this.
in life is just flashing through your eyes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not worried about getting shot or blown up.
Jeez.
I'm worried about the goddamn radio I lost. Yeah, but we found it. Got lucky. So
100%.
yeah, but it is what it is. But anyway, so I guess we'll leave it there for tonight, and
Yep.
we'll pick up again in a week or two and see where we're at. And yeah, I got a few more weeks before I go hike on that long weekend. But other than that, we'll see where we are for next week, if that works.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, I will see you later, and that wraps up episode 8. I will go and figure out some cover art for this bad boy, and we will see y'all again later.
See ya.
Okay, bye.